Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player.
Good day, all. Ira Epstein of Linn Associates with your financial market wrap-up for the beginning of the trading season, as I call it. It is September 4th, 2018. We're just after about 4:05 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and traders came back from vacation. Now, they'll really be back by next Monday because some people extend it. They take off Monday, then they go, maybe I'll just extend it this week. But the vast majority, they're back to work. And we saw that as the market entered another selling mode today, only to come back up strongly. I can tell you the last trades of the day were very strong in the SEP S&P. They were trading at 99.75. So these markets came back with a pretty good vengeance here, as I like to say, and I think that's interesting. In the metal markets, they beat them all down today because tomorrow is September 5th. What does that mean? That is the end of the vetting period, if you will, for where the president's teams are listening to the public comment on Chinese tariffs, proposed tariffs at $200 billion, and he can decide starting at midnight. If he wants to go 12:01 p.m., he can put on tariffs. We'll see how he goes about it, what he's going to do, size of tariffs, goods tariffed, or if there'll be tariffs. I can't begin to tell you. I can tell you the dollar index was strong at the expense of most currencies today. In Britain, it appears that Mark Carney is going to stay on as governor. I had mentioned this to you a week ago. I said it was smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And now we're getting that he is being asked, and why not? Brexit comes in March. They don't have another person of his skill to carry him over that and into what could be. Now, how long he'll stay in, I can't answer that, but expect him to stay there. In the grain markets, in the wheat market, we saw selling pressure to a degree today, and that is because Russia, which had a meeting with its exporters this week, has decided to allow continuation of the export. And remember, they have terrible weather in Europe. Crop sizes are reduced, so that added more crop there. We thought that the U.S. might get a chance for a bid in that, not just yet. When we come to the charts now, you were down 3.7 points in the S&P. You went up to an all-time high on Friday. You backed off a little bit today. Certainly not a change of the upthrust. You do have an outside day down. Now, here's the importance of that. When you get an outside day down, if you take out the high of that, the market often makes a run to the closest key moving average, could be the 100 of the 18 of moving averages, or a Bollinger Band. Let's put on that number. I'm not saying it's going to take it out. What I'm saying is when I look at the swing line, I now have lower lows and lower highs. So the market stepped out of its uptrend. When I look at where it's at in relation to the 18-day average, that's at 28.67, another 30 handles, as they call it, lower. If the market takes out today's highs, then the 29.23 level comes into play. There's a lot to think about there, and you still have the embedded reading, which basically rules the day. As long as this red line doesn't close under 80, I say that even with all this negative action, the pros are buyers, not sellers in the market. And my guess is as long as when we reopen tonight, it is still over the 80 level, if they can try to jam it over today's highs, they'll do their job in trying. You have the same chart picture in a number of the stock indices. You had it in the NASDAQ, lower highs, now a lower low, but what rules the day is the embedded reading. The difference here is if you take it out over today's high, you're already at that upper Bollinger Band. In the Dow, lower highs, lower low, still an embedded reading if they can take it over the high. Now, what if none of these take it over the high? Then the 18-day average becomes a potential target in all of these different indices. We'll see what gives on that. When we come to the Russell, outside day down. But the difference here is you made the highest high of the whole move. It was like a laggard. And if you'll notice, you're keeping the embedded reading. So as long as the embedded reading, and an embedded reading occurs when a slow stochastic study gets overbought and then starts with both numbers going sideways over 80. When that occurs, and they stay that way for several days or more, it is said to have converted the trend from overbought to locked in, and with that, you often make an attempt at higher highs. The opposite is true if you're under 20. When I come to the VIX, there's no volatility in the market. You've slipped back, you're headed back to this, as I call it, the 18-day average of closes. Again, I think that if the market reached up and hit the upper Bollinger Band, the call writers would show up looking for the market to drop back off that. In the bond market, you have a pattern of lower highs, lower lows. Now, keep in mind, I'm switching to December T-bonds now, dropping the Septembers at this point. Same in the 10-year notes, lower highs, lower lows. I was just on Sky Business in Australia, and I mentioned to people, I said, it's very difficult to want to be bullish in front of the Fed meeting that's coming up when the Fed's already signaled they're going to raise interest rates. But what has been the norm recently is the Fed raises interest rates, and then the marketplace discounts that, and the rates actually start falling. Of course, we don't know if we're going to get a NAFTA deal. If you do, that could prompt higher interest rates. We don't know what's going to happen with China. Put on $200 billion all at once with 25% tariffs, you might get a very fast bid as people run to Treasuries for protection. In TLT, on Friday you had made a new high on the move, and today you just collapsed from there. Look at that big drop in the market. No pattern here. You have a higher high, lower low. You went down to the 100-day average of closes, and you stalled right on that. Lower support, 119.68, the lower Bollinger Band. In the dollar index, you ran all the way back to that line in the sand, as I call it, the 18-day average of closes, where the market is now stalled out. It did this before here. It's done it again. Which way is it going to go from here becomes the question. In the eurocurrency, it's the mirror image, just a flip-flop. Lower highs, lower lows, down to the lower Bollinger Band, finding support. Now, this is a market that is overbought, and in the dollar index, we have a market that is oversold. When you come to the British pound, again, I was surprised even today when Carney's pretty much going to stay where he's at, that the market still fell back. We'll see what happens, but the trade was eager to sell a number of currencies today and buy the dollar. In the Japanese yen, you stalled out on Friday against the 18-day average and slipped right back today. No trend here either. Got a higher high and a lower low pattern. Stuck in a sideways. The black bands are Bollinger Bands, and you're just stuck in them. When you break out of them is when you'll get a trend. This can also be called, as you go forward like this, what we call a baseline pattern. And I'm going to be doing a video on that very shortly to teach what traders should learn about that. In Bitcoin, I think the bulls are going to say they've got a low in place against that 58.80 level to the $6,000 zone. I think the market's a little rich here against the upper Bollinger Band and the 100-day average of closes, but trend is up. In WTI versus Brent, what we have is still the gaining of the Brent, up 50 points today against the upper Bollinger Band, backed away, but it has this bullish embedded reading. Until that's lost, I say the bulls are aggressive in the market on pullbacks and still buying. WTI has the embedded reading. Here too, higher lows, higher highs. Went to the upper Bollinger Band, backed off. Subscribers to my market information know this morning when the market was up against and over the upper Bollinger Band, I said I'm expecting that we're going to see people cashing in here because the Labor Day holiday's over. Where are these gas stations? They're going to buy more gasoline for not as many drivers? I don't see it. And we got that correction coming later in the day. In the nat gas, the market dropping off because you're not getting all the heat right now from Hurricane Gordon. On one of the other videos, I couldn't figure out the name. I was saying, Daniel, it's wrong. I went and checked it. It's Hurricane Gordon right now. And Hurricane Gordon is not creating demand for the nat gas. So it is down at this point. You had a bit of a bid come in early in the day in the crude because of concerns about what that hurricane might mean for the offshore platforms and the like. I want to remind you, this is a great time of year to refresh what the technical trading tips are from top pros in the market. It covers Gann square, the benefits of relative strength, money flow index, bottom fishers, and how to optimize stops. So it gives you a pretty good idea of what it is. This is a sample of what these different articles look like. I think you'll find that it's interesting as can be, and you should take a good hard look at it. How do you get access to it? It's simple. You give us a call at 866-973-2077. You can visit our website at www.iraepstein.com, and you can always click up here. If you're watching this icon, it means you're seeing us off YouTube. It'll take you right where you have to be. I'm Ira Epstein. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow.